The term Moor started to become interchangeable with the term black because it was basically the same thing. But when the slave trade started, they tried to objectify black people, Moorish people. So they would use the term interchangeably and they would just switch on to calling people black. There was even a boxer out of Virginia who was very popular in the early 1800s named Tom Molyneux, and his nickname was the Moor. So that name was definitely used interchangeably with black or Negro at that time.
Moor means black. Like Negro, Ethiopian. Moor means black.
I'm a Moor and got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor. And wouldn't come in your house or come among you and say I'm a Moor if I didn't feel in my heart, in my mind, in my soul that I am. I would tell you, God damn it, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Ain't no more. So if I say it, I mean it. And if I mean it, generally, I say it.
When I talked to Dr. Ben, you know what Dr. Ben said?
He studied the Moorish schools.
Dr. Ben, when he talked about, you know, his travels that he had, the difficulties he had growing up, getting his education, he said, with all the struggles he'd been through, he never really got his solid and grounded education until he went to the Moorish universities in Spain.
But Dr. Ben was our leader. He wasn't just the teacher of the now, he was the leader of the whole group. Dr. Jeffries didn't do nothing Dr. Ben didn't approve of. That's the way we were. Clark didn't do nothing out of perimeter that Ben disapproved of.
There came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain. The Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S.
Any scholar,
Because you take a quote from Dr. Ben,
no,
right?
that's just a quote. That's not a foundation.
But do you understand what you're doing to the listening audience when you do stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm informing them.
Right. You're informing them, but you're also directing the conversation. You're creating a bias.
Exactly.
Because we also know Dr. Ben. Many of us studied with Dr. Ben, and he said many more things.
Yeah.
We'll say that he went to those schools, but when he went to those schools, they weren't under no Moorish nationality.
Hold up.
Oh. They wasn't that. They was in Spain.
That's not what I said.
Okay.
That's not what I said. Take the wax out your ears. Take the wax out your ears.
I'm gonna be respectful because it's an elder.
No, don't be respectful. We're dealing with scholarship. See, my issue is this. I could take an ordinary dictionary. This is the point. Take an ordinary dictionary, a child's dictionary, any unabridged dictionary, from any one of these tables, right? Any one of these tables, and take you to a dictionary and take a child to a dictionary, give them basic grammar from 3rd grade, and show anybody that they're Moors. So what is a compound word, baby? What's a compound word?
The word to put together.
Oh, go ahead, girl. So now, as you can see, when you follow down and you see the compound word, what's that compound word right there, big as day? Yes.
Oh, black or a Moor?
Why are you saying it with a question mark?
Black and Moor.
Now, what's the part of speech?
Any dark.
Noun. The noun, the matrix. Noun. So now it separates the adjective from the noun. You see that? See, black or Moor. Any dark-skinned person, especially an African Negro, earlier black, small case, then Moor, and see how the black is all case, which means a straw, and is separated from Moor, which is a capital letter. There's the identification of these people who think they're black, right in the dictionary. See that? Mm-hmm. Spell it.
M-O-O-R.
This whole issue about knowing even these dynamics that you're dealing with right here. Now we have the president, foreign diplomat, representing the United States Corporation Company. His name is Barack H. Obama. Barack H. Obama, knowing the problems that we have here at Morocco and knowing that our people's heads are messed up, and also knowing that the world is turning around, and knowing that for these generations to come, that some truths have to come out. So he went to Hikupta, which is the proper name of Egypt. All scholars know that. Right now,
give me a reference.
Let me finish.
Give me a reference.
Let me finish.
What is important to understand about this word hikupata is an understanding where the word Egypt comes from. Because the Greeks, in coming down and embracing African culture, they are going to begin a language that is going to be based on the African language. They are going to take a script that is based on Medu-Neter, or what we call hieroglyphs, and they're going to call hikupata, they're going to call it egupatos. So even when you're dealing with the word Egypt, you're still dealing with the origins of an African word, which is hikupata, that became egupatos. Egupatos is going to become Egypt.
So he went to Hikupta and exposed that the American Constitution is derived from Muslim law, which all scholars always knew, right? Now, Michelle triangulates go to the Alhambra, the last stronghold of the Moors. They have pictures taken of them by the international community coming through double doors, dealing with the Kabbalistic principles, ancient African culture, higher self, lower self. Guards standing right next to him with the Moorish flag big as day. Then they come back here and sign the rights of indigenous people for these people to declare their nationality, because the international community has been addressing this since 1948. Problem that you have is that you have fake scholars who keep getting paid off, that keep promoting these people as crayons, knowing that that makes them non-descendable. Whether it was black, green, purple.
Fake scholars? Give me a fake scholar.
Anybody that continues to call these people of Moorish Asiatic descent black, knowing it makes them non-descendable. We're talking about a political issue of estate and birthright.
Is Dr. John Henry Clark one of those? Who are you talking
He
about?
knows that these people are Moors.
Huh?
We are a nation within a nation in this country searching for a nationality. And once we find our nationality and serve that nationality, we'll do for ourselves what needs to be done. All ethnic groups in this country understand they got a nationality. Because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and colored and black. You have no nationality. Negro is not a nationality. Some lazy Portuguese or Spaniard took an adjective and made a noun out of it. Colored is not a nationality. Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are.
Right.
The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. There's no black land or black hole on it. The name of every people in the world relate to country. And once you think instantaneously of land, you think of nationality.
All scholars know that black is an English word. It's in the 14th century, medieval period. It's no older than 500 years old on the planet. And in its original Lower German form, it actually means pale. Now, scholars know that we're not black people. But we believe we are because that's one of the brands that we've accepted. You know, just because you accept something doesn't make it true. Many people do not understand the function of the social engineering that the European did. So when they look at black, they're looking at black from a perspective of identity, right? They're looking at it from a perspective of identity. When the European calls us black, he's using it from an engineering perspective for classification purposes. And if our people would understand that much, because it is a fact, improvable fact, then they would look at it different.
We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S.
And don't think that scholars don't know this information, but this doesn't feed the black agenda, so they ain't going to reveal it. Do you understand? This is why when you look at the Sundry Free Moors case, it was an issue of status. And the issue was what? That as blacks, they had no rights. Only as Moors.
Civil little more too.
That's exactly correct. Now that's 1789. It's not a new argument. You see? And then they read the Negro Act before the court, and they determined what? They were what? Moroccans in allegiance with the United States through the prince. Therefore, they come under the treaty. And see, so our people don't even know their own daggone treaty. This is what I'm going to do, Sonetta. I'm going to bring Oxford Dictionary. I'm going to bring 2 law dictionaries. I'm going to show you etymologically that we're not black, not by opinion, etymologically. Now, when we're saying black power, if we're really talking about cosmogony, there's nothing wrong with it. But then we must demonstrate the metaphysics behind it. But our people are not doing that. They're saying black by force of implied identity, which makes it misplacement, which makes them incompetent in law and non-descendable. They need to know that. So when we start debating words, the first thing you do so that you don't waste a lot of time, which means we could do something else, is debate with someone who don't know the rules of what they're debating. So that we don't waste time, you ask them the honest question, do you know etymology? Because etymology is the science that treats of the origin, the root, the nature, and the spirit of the words, and is used all over the world. It ain't no European and then ain't African. It's all over the world. And the Europeans got it from the Moors through the Renaissance, who taught them this culture. It ain't their stuff, it's your stuff. So let us not make assumptions. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So etymon, this is 3rd grade stuff. 3rd grade stuff. Etymon is to a word what atom is to the building block of anything else. Anybody, anywhere around the world, any scholar, doesn't matter what language they're dealing with, right? Know these rules. These rules are not taught to our people because we've held to servitude caste. The language that we usually use is called connotative linguistics, which is introduced into societies where people are held to servitude so that their own language traps them.
When I went to Europe, I would always look at pictures and I would always see a Moor, and sometimes I would see like a skull and bones. And many of the Moors would have a skull and bones flag. That's what pirates are known for. There were many Moorish pirates. And there's even a secret organization called the Skull and Bones. And we know that Masonry comes from Moorish science. So there's always a connection there with the Moors.
And it's important that as we begin to develop an understanding of this society, that it's not Freemason as we know it. And that the Moors brought in this knowledge into Europe. Africans brought this knowledge into Europe. And in bringing this knowledge into Europe, the Knights Templars and other organizations were born out of this. And peoples of European descent were exposed to alchemy, okay? The periodic table of elements, the laboratory, how to take information, how to take elements and atoms, and to begin to manipulate them to make them into different types of molecules.
Are you saying that the Klan is a secret society? It's a very advanced secret society. That's the reason why we can't draw the parallel, because we always have these rednecks etched in our mind. And as a result, we don't understand that the secret society has its origin in the Moorish system. As a matter of fact, the actual outfits that the Klan wear, I'm not talking about the ones where you see somebody cut some holes in some sheets, but I'm talking about the real Grand Master outfits, and the ones that's really done up with, you know, with the actual cross and the robe with the cape and the pine cone hat. That's all Egyptian initiation outfits brought up into Europe by the Moors.
1870, Knights of Columbus, Ku Klux Klan oath. 1854, 1865, when the Europeans took on the title of white with the Whig-a-Moor parties. They used to wear wigs to imitate the Moors. They called it the Whig-a-Moor party. Now they become the white party, and they took on the title of white that belonged to you. That's what Klan is all about. Even the uniform that they use belonged to you.
I'm scared of that.
Them uniforms are thousands of years old. Understand what the world knows about you and why you see that when you have Asiatics come from other countries, they don't show you their passports, because they will have on their passport white man. And they know immediately we start getting Antichrist.
You don't want to be black like the brothers, huh?
Then we start. We do.
No, you don't want to be black. You're trying to act like the white man.
Because they are white men. It's a legal status. Free white persons. Free white persons, quote unquote, referred to in Naturalization Act, so you must know the history, you must know Naturalization Act, distinguished from nationalization. Anyway, referred to Naturalization Act as amended by Act July 14, 1870 has meaning naturally given to it when first used in one statute 103C3, meaning all persons belonging to the European races then commonly counted as white, and their descendants, including such descendants in other countries to which they have immigrated. That's the general perception, and that's what they've taken it on. And this is what it means in law. Free white persons includes all European Jews more or less intermixed with peoples of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. If they're not mixed, they can't be free white people. Do you understand? They gotta have Asiatic blood. Now, free white persons includes Magyars, Lapps and Finns, and the Basque and Albanians. Includes Lapps, Finns, the Basque and Albanians. Free white persons includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal. The mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenician, and North African inhabitants of Sicily, and the mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. Read this together, you all. Free white persons, it does not mean Caucasian race. Repeat it, y'all. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, or Indo-European races, nor the mixed Indo-European, Dravidian, Semitic, or Mongolian peoples who inhabit Persia. A Syrian of Asiatic birth and descent will not be entitled to become a naturalized citizen of the United States as being a free white person in multiple law cases, so you can see that your leaders have been miseducating you.
Who knows, I might even become familiar with her myself.
That'll be one more reason for me to kill you.
Oh yes, Mr. West, I'm sure to a no doubt, well-endowed blackamoor like yourself.
Oh, you the idiot that damn near ran me over, aren't you? Wait till I find your boss. He gonna fire your metallic ass.
You would do well to mind your tongue, Moore. Moore! Do you mock me?
This is a hell of a setup you got here. I mean, I'm not lying. I mean, whoo, you got to have major coins behind this. Who's backing you? Puffy?
Silence, Moore.
Can I dance? Come on, man. That's how I get out.
Please, pleasure us with your skills. Dance well, Moore.
I read a lot, especially about things, about history. I find that shit fascinating. Here's a fact, I don't know whether you know or not. Sicilians were spawned by
Come again?
No, it's a fact. Yeah. You see, Sicilians have black blood pumping through their hearts. And no, if you don't believe me, you can look it up. Hundreds and hundreds of years ago, you see, the Moors conquered Sicily, and the Moors aren't.